Hi everyone, it's Dr. Rowe, the Starch Lady. How you doing today? I'm thrilled to death. We've got a guest speaker today, and I love it when we have guest speakers because I don't have to do all the talking. But we've got some great information to share for one of the McDougall success stories that you're going to want to definitely hear. But let's get started by asking Diane and everybody how your week's going and anything new and exciting. So Diane, what's going on with you this week?
All is well in Ohio. Nothing really new.
Mm-hmm. Doing any better?
Yes and no. It's okay.
You've gotten so used to it that it's normal. That's your new norm, right?
Yeah, I really don't. I'd like to not think that, but yeah, I'm afraid so.
Yeah. So I'm still waiting for some responses from some of my powers that be that have a little bit of background in that. So I'm hoping that I need to check that again because I sent the message and then I've got to go back there and look for it. So
I need to find out. Be grateful.
Any new recipes this week?
Oh heck no. I'm
No?
just
Okay.
one foot in front of the other. That's about it.
So what is your norm for the week? What's the meal that you've enjoyed the most?
Greens and corn and black beans and tomatoes, like a taco salad kind of thing.
Ooh, that sounds delightful. See, that's not norm. That's not blah blah. You can put that on the group. We would love to see that. So,
I eat it and I go, well, daggone, I should have taken a picture of that. Too late now.
We're going to be seeing a picture of Diane, the inside of her mouth one of these days. Last bite, here you go. All right. Sam, how's your week been going? We lost Carolyn. Where'd she go? All right. What you got there, Sam? Are you driving? Are you stopped at a stop sign? She's getting her volume working. We lost Carolyn. Come back to us, Carolyn.
So sorry. I've been blah, 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 talking and saying, what was that? Say that again. Blah, blah, blah. And I didn't realize I was on mute. Anyway, Diane, tell me again, what have you been eating lately?
I make a batch of frozen corn, can of black beans, a can of tomatoes, and I pour that over whatever greens I have in the refrigerator or the other refrigerator. And that's, I bought some rice to use too. Sometimes I put rice in it. So that's been about it. And I just make a big bowl of it and stick it in the fridge and just,
Munch out.
Sounds great.
That sounds really good. Like I'm planning dinner off of that right there. See? And you think you don't have anything to share. Look at you, girl. We're like going, I'm going to make that. Sam's going, I'm going to make that. We keep losing Carolyn. She popped in and popped out again. Yeah. Okay. So how was your week this week, Sam?
Great.
Well, there she is.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, just normal week. Same. I'm, still stuck, but it's okay.
Any new food at your house?
New foods? No, I'm still doing the same thing I always do. And I don't do a lot of the like corn. I love corn, but I don't do a lot of corn simply because of it turning to sugar and blah blah blah, those kind of things. So but beans, I love beans, but I have to do beans or potatoes, right? Not supposed to do both.
Why not?
I don't know, because it's more fattening.
No.
I'm trying to lose weight. I'm not trying to stay the same.
So half your plate is starch. Do we care what kind of starch is on that half? Nope. So if there's a quarter potato and there's a quarter beans, do we care?
Oh, well, no. Here's the problem is I don't want to have a bunch of food. And
Ah,
realizing what how much a serving is. There's the tow truck. Yay, yay. Yeah, I realizing how little a serving actually is.
are you waiting for a tow truck?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, what happened?
Amy's car broke down.
Oh,
So
I'm sorry.
yeah, it's cool. I have AAA, so yeah, and my year expires next month, so I've got 3 more times that I can use for free. So anybody need a tow
A
truck
tow?
or
I will
a
keep that
yeah,
in mind. Can
yeah,
they move
or
a piano to Houston for me?
yeah, yeah. Well, key lock out and things like that. Okay, I'm putting myself on mute
Okay,
and
you
y'all
deal
go.
with that. All right,
Okay, bye.
so I'm really excited. We're going to get into the if I can get my thingy here. Well, let me talk. Hello, hello, hello. We're going to do a interview. I just finished it up, and I'm crossing my fingers when I change screens here that it's going to be finished uploading on the YouTube, because it's an hour and 6 minutes long. So I don't want you to zone out, because this is some really, really good information from this gal that has a great success story on the McDougall success page. And I sent her a message, and she reached out to me because she does kind of what I do. She helps people and to follow the program and to stay on the program and figure out why it's, their glitches and things. So she's got some really good insight. So let's get started with that. I'm going to do a screen share and go here, share. All right. Then we're going to pop over here to YouTube. Hopefully it's going to be ready to go. And there it is. Yay, perfect timing. There she is. So this is Stephy Bartholomae. And let's go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Starch Lady. It is already May. Can you believe it? Just, where did this year go? I mean, these last 2 years has dragged by so slowly. And then all of a sudden we've got like Zoom going on here and life again in the real world. So I am so excited to have our guest speaker here with us today. She's from Berlin, Germany. Her name is Stephy Bartholomae. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, close enough. I'll let you describe that a little bit more, but we are thrilled. I saw her story on the McDougall success page, and I just was so excited. I reached out to her. She answered me back this morning, and I asked her to be a guest speaker. So she does what I do. She actually helps people and coaches people through the Starch Solution program. And if you haven't gotten the Starch Solution book yet, this is the Bible right here. This is the thing that you need to have in your toolkit to be able to follow along and do some of the things that are critical to making this program work. So we're gonna, without further ado, get into Stephys story here and let her tell us more about herself. So let me put her up on screen. There we go. All right, Stephy.
Hi.
Tell us a little bit about you, your name, where you're from, your family, and what got you doing the Starch Solution. You're beautiful, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I live in Berlin, Germany. I was born here and grew up here, but my mom's from California, which is why I sound so American, because we grew up speaking English our whole lives too. And I lived in the States for about 9 years, just when I was very young, or for 5 years when I was very young, and then my 4 years of college as well, which is also where I found the Starch Solution. Should I just kind of get into the story?
Yeah, just tell us. We want to hear it all, so go.
Yeah, so in college, or in high school, I started to gain weight. I was always kind of a slim, skinny kid. And then as soon as I hit puberty, or just like a couple of years into, I started just gaining a little bit of weight. And then in college, I had kind of that typical freshman first year of just gaining a lot more weight. And I also got gallstones then.
Oh, no.
it was my freshman year, but I didn't know that I had gallstones. And at the time, I just remember being in terrible pain. I went to the emergency room a couple times because if anybody has had gallstones before, you kind of think that you're dying. But I was so young that the doctors just gave me Pepto-Bismol and then kind of sent me home. And I guess between the time that it started, I got there, I was seeing I had passed that gallstone, and the costs involved with everything. I didn't go again after the first 2 times because it was just so expensive. And I thought that I was just struggling with digestion, that I was very, very sensitive. And through that, I just kind of on accident moved into eating a vegan diet, but just pretty much just vegetables. And I had a little bit of oatmeal in the morning and then vegetables, and I lost a lot of weight very quickly, but in a very unhealthy way. I lost my cycle. I was just very low on energy. And there was one point when I think whenever I would eat something that was just a little bit heavier, and I would have a gallstone attack again, because I just couldn't sustain it. I would kind of be restricting a lot, not on purpose, but just because I didn't want to have one of those painful attacks. And then I would just go through a gallstone something, or I would overeat. I would be binging because I was so hungry. And then I would have a gallstone attack, probably like on the second day or something. And at some point, my symptoms got so strong that I figured out that I had gallstones. And I came back to Germany. I had the surgery, and I just thought I needed to be able to incorporate more foods. And I gained all of that weight back again that I had lost. I needed to gain some of that weight back. Of course, there are some health issues that came along with that. But I just remember thinking, I know that vegetables were really good for me because I didn't get any colds during that time, but it wasn't just sustainable in the way. So I just started looking online then for something that just had a lot of vegetables, and I came across the Starch Solution. And 2 girls at the time, I think they're twin sisters, and they kind of followed the Starch Solution stuff, I think, because their mom had been through some health issues. And I had issues at that time then also with my thyroid. So I had a very low thyroid, so I was always tired. And then over that time, I had also gotten married. I had had a couple miscarriages. And at some point, I just thought I needed to be eating a lot more healthy. So when I found out more about the Starch Solution, I just started to eat more whole starches and vegetables. And there was a couple years of ups and downs before I was able to kind of figure out what really worked, to develop habits that I was just able to replace what's kind of the old just habits of, at this time of the day, I would eat these things, or what I would snack at night, and especially around holidays and stuff like that. And so that's what I teach people to do now, is through the Starch Solution, to really develop healthy habits and mindset so that they can, just with the tools that they have from this amazing program, everything that Don McDougall put together, came up with, and all these doctors, to teach them how to just create healthy habits. So yeah.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. So we're talking about about a 6 to 8 year period there. Is that kind of the time frame?
Yes. So I had my gallstones in college for about 2.5 years. So it was a really long time. And then through that was also, I had thyroid problems the whole time. I didn't figure out that I had thyroid problems until my first pregnancy, when we had our first miscarriage. And then we had 2 more. And during that time was when I decided I need to really make a change. I don't want to keep having these issues. And because I had gained weight, but it was just about, for some people, it's not a big amount. It was about 30 pounds. And then over these years, from the time when I had my first gallstones until I really transitioned, that was about like a 5-year or 4-year period.
Wow. Wow. And you have 3 littles now. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's right. I have a
Oh, that's
5-year-old, a
wonderful.
3-year-old, and a 1.5-year-old.
That's wonderful. And we always talk about how we're doing this for health, and the side effect is that we lose weight. So,
Yeah.
we want to really focus on the health aspect of this, but we are also very curious and excited about the weight loss. So how many pounds are we looking at here for you?
I lost 40 pounds. So the first, I think 35 pounds I lost in that first year. And then after just kind of over the last couple years, also, I've just gone down a little bit more at a weight that I never planned to lose this amount of weight. But
Right.
like you said too, it's just kind of a side effect because I was feeling so good. I had so much energy, and that initial weight that I had kind of gained the end of high school and in college went away, but it wasn't the primary thing. And then I didn't even keep track of my weight. And then a couple years ago, I was going through my closet and found some old clothes and figured, oh, I think my weight had even gone down a little bit more. So
Sure. All right.
Yeah.
Well, what I want to do is I'd like to screen share, and I want to go into your success story and show that picture of college and you next to each other. And then we're going to go to your page, and I saw some really exciting things there that I wanted to share with the group. If I can get this over here. Oh my goodness, we got so much going on here. I got kids and kids and kids. I love it. All right, so here on the McDougall Success Stories, and if you haven't joined the McDougall Success Stories page, it is a public group. There's over 15,000 people in it, and it's only there for people that have had successes like, Steffi. So here she is. There's 9 years of effortless maintenance with the right food habit and mindset change. This is her college days. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so I spent a semester abroad in Israel, and it was actually the semester where a lot of people tend to lose weight because you're hiking so much, you're moving around so much. And I had lost maybe a little bit of weight, but that was, you're not eating very regularly, you're just a ton of exercise and movement. And I remember, especially after this semester, thinking, man, I'm just the kind of person who is not going to be able to lose weight unless I'm just restricting big time and eating tiny portions and exercising a lot. And everyone in my family, all of the women in my family, especially when they have babies, are just overweight. And that's both of my grandmothers, my mom, both of my sisters. So I'm not the person who has like the great genes for weight loss, but I made the food changes, and everybody, I've become this person now where everyone's like, oh, you don't understand, you don't know what it's like. And I thought, no, and that's why that's why I wanted to put together this program with just healthy habits, because it doesn't have to do with your genes if you're eating the right food.
Right. It'll come naturally. It's like Dr. McDougall always says that your body will settle in at the weight that it's supposed to be. So let's sneak over here to your page. And I love this. You don't have to be hungry to lose weight. Oh, amen to that. That's what I was telling you before we got started, that when I began my journey and I was eating just vegetables, yes, the weight came off. Yes, the cancer went away, but I was hungry and tired all the time. So this has been a game changer. So look at that one here. Now, this is one of the times you were in the hospital, it's like for the gallstone attack. And
that's when I got my gallbladder finally out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that is now getting your gallbladder removed changes your diet if they tell you properly about the dangers of eating fatty foods when you don't have a gallbladder to process it. So did they even give you that guidance when you were doing it?
They didn't tell me anything. And that was the interesting thing, is when I got my gallbladder out, I thought, oh, everything's going to be fine. I'm going to, be able to eat like normal again. And I would always have just stomach aches where it was just very hard. And it has been something, I think for those first years, it would motivate me to just think, I want to be eating the food that's going to make me feel best. And when I'm eating whole food plant-based Starch Solution, I don't feel tired. I don't get stomach aches because it's so
Yes.
easy to get that energy and digest.
Yes.
But after the surgery, I still felt I would feel really tired. Just eating any heavy, oily foods, even if it was technically maybe healthy, just eating a bunch of nuts and seeds
Oh yeah, too
wasn't
much.
good.
Yeah, too much. And if you've ever taken a look at Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn's work, you know, he's the cardiovascular surgeon that is adjacent to Dr. McDougall in his eating habits. He does use a little bit more tofu and nuts than some, but actually he doesn't use as many of those as he does the tofu. But you know, he'll tell you no oil, no oil, no oil. He's very dramatic about it, you know, making sure that we're not getting that into our diet. And I just love him as well. I like to glean information from him. Here's another one here, just 10 years ago. I love these comparative side-by-side photos. I mean, you look like a totally different person. You know, this is huge. I mean, the definition in your arms. Are you exercising a lot?
No, I don't. I mean, I have 3 kids that I'm lifting every now and then. And I work in the yard and just, I like to stay on my feet with the kids just because, you know, as soon as you sit down, they kind of seem to like need more attention.
Yeah.
And there's always been times where I felt like, oh, I could do a little bit of exercising just for, you know, when you're bending over a lot with little kids. But I'd say maybe when it comes down to, I probably exercise every 2 weeks, one time.
Okay.
It's
You
not
know,
something that's part of my day right now.
you know, 35, 40 pounds, to some people that have a lot to lose, like myself, I had over 100 pounds to lose. And I'm probably at about the 55 pounds off right at this point. And I know a lot of people say, well, you know, but look, you can see the difference of what 35, 40 pounds does in just your physique there. But you got to put it in perspective. And my mother was an avid Weight Watcher. I think she got an award for being the longest member there, which means she never lost the weight. She gained and lost the same pound or two, you know, and they would do such a big, huge hoopla of her losing a quarter pound, which they would illustrate by saying, that's the size of a stick of butter. Where would you like to wear a quarter pound stick of butter on your body? And so you think about how many sticks of butter 35 or 40 pounds is, that would be a massive mountain of fat sitting there.
Wow.
So I have a 1 pound, I think it is, or maybe it's 1 pound fat in a jar here at my house. Here it's a simulated thing. I'll show it to you when we go off the screen share, just remind me. But going down here, here's some more issues, pictures here. I mean, just the difference of being able to get your health back. You can see the energy in your appearance. I mean, everything here just looks so good. I'm trying to see if I can find some food pictures. Do you have any recipes and things on this page?
You know what? Not on my Facebook page. I have some on my Instagram where I'll kind of share what I eat in a day, because there's 2 different kinds of meals. Sometimes I'll share, especially just for moms who are kind of thinking, well, how can I lose weight when I have to feed like 3 different mouths or even 1 other mouth?
What's your name on Instagram? Let me go. Oh, right
Stephy,
there.
yeah. So then in my stories up at the top, there'll be, I think, yeah, the 3rd one there is what I eat in a day or eat in a day. See those little circles right there? There's eat in a day.
Right here? Oh, eat in a day. There we go. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, you know how to use your Instagram page. Mine are just all
you know, I got some
there.
help with that because I'm not, someone showed me how to do it, because I love using social media, but I'm not very good at it. And so I just show very quick meals of sometimes just a very simple kind of half veggie, half starch. We also have some recipes because my husband also eats whole food plant-based. It took him about 4 years until he wanted to join, and he never had weight to lose, but he had migraines very consistently where he couldn't see, and it would happen a couple times a week. And since he went whole food plant-based, he doesn't have any of those issues anymore. He used to also just have a lot of digestive problems. His whole family does. And he didn't struggle with that anymore. And once he just realized, man, I'm not as tired as I used to be. That was the biggest thing for him, that he could go to bed at 11 and be awake early in the morning and just have a lot of energy.
Nice.
He never
This
wanted to
looks
go
like
back.
him in the background here.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, what cute kids. Congratulations. I want to go back up here and look at this one here. I love this non-scale victories. Now let me open that and see if it's got any more insight here. Okay, so walk us through this a little bit.
Yeah. So I think, what you were also saying, just there's so much more to health than what happens on the scale. And a lot of times there's a process. A lot of times kind of when we're looking at weight loss, when we're seeing advertisements for that kind of just out for these fad diets, it's, lose 30 pounds in 3 weeks or something. And when you're eating a healthy diet, that weight loss should go a little bit slower, because you want to be doing something where you're not feeling hungry and you're not putting your body kind of through shock. So kind of focusing on these wins along the way, that you're feeling stronger, that you feel so much better, and realizing that those are really important wins along the way to the overall health. It's going to make this journey also sustainable and enjoyable. It's so much more than just, feeling hungry, but seeing that your waist is getting smaller, or, your face is getting slimmer, that you're having amazing energy, that you're feeling stronger, that you feel more confident. Or what was another one? That your clothes are also fitting better, and that you're also enjoying eating healthy foods. Those are all equally as important in different ways, depending on what your goals are, but to not forget those things.
I know there's a client of mine that was recently going to pick up a gift for her daughter for her birthday. And I don't remember what she called it, but in my mind, it was a weight loss belt. And it was a super delicate, sexy chain that you put around your midsection, and you wear it under or over your clothes, like all the time, kind of like a necklace, but around your waist. And it has little individual chain loops. And as you start losing weight, you have to keep moving that chain to get it to fit properly. And it was like a subconscious motivation, I guess you could say. And I thought about getting one of those and giving it as one of the prizes that we do in our group, because we let our group gain points by posting pictures and articles and staying active on the Facebook page and sharing their journey with each other. And we add those points up and we give prizes for that. And we haven't done it for a couple of months. We've had some real decline in the participants. And so this is a great motivation to get people going again, is sharing people like you with the group so that they can get that pep back in their step again and get back on program. So let's go over here. Do you have any, well, this might answer that. What are your suggestions? Maybe that's not here. Is that going to go on here? What are your suggestions for how to keep people motivated?
Well, I think what you were also saying, but just following other people that also, like, especially people like Dr. Esselstyn and Dr. McDougall, and getting information of also what this food is doing for your health. I think that's one of the most important things, because when you're just focusing on weight loss, then you could be willing to make unhealthy choices and to restrict and to do a lot more maybe portion controlling, or to just focus on maybe eating just vegetables and leaving out starches. But when you're focusing on health, then you're going to be just a lot more motivated to make healthy choices, or to develop habits that you're going to be able to do for a long time. So that's
it. Yeah. The longevity of it, not just, this isn't an instant fix. I've had clients that I asked them to do something for, to improve their blood, which improves their cells, tissues, organs, and everything, because everything about it is made out of blood. And they'll try it for a week or two and they say it didn't work. And it's like, well, are you doing it now? No, I went back to eating keto because that's the only way I've been able to lose weight in the past. And I said, but we saw keto in your blood. we saw the damage that it caused to your blood cells, which is now causing damage to your, your tissue and organs. And you don't want a bacon double cheeseburger brain, you know what I mean? And so you gotta look at it with that visual and get them back on track again. But like right here, you're talking on the right here, it says, following through gets so hard. I love this. Why is it so hard to be the person I want to become? Why am I setting a goal and then giving up on it the very same day? Why do I keep staying up later than I promised myself I would? Oh my gosh, we were up till 2 o'clock last night watching a dang movie on Netflix. What is wrong with us, And I tell my clients all the time that I know for a fact from my degree that your body does its healing when it's sleeping, and between the circadian rhythm of your time zone, usually between 10 p.m. is when it starts to heal. You need to be asleep. Your brain doesn't even start healing till about 2 o'clock in the morning. So if you're not asleep between 2 and 3, you have lost those healing hours and that deep, deep sleep that is required. You have to get into that deep, deep REM sleep in order for a lot of this healing to take place. And it's like, what am I doing up at 2 o'clock, turning out the lights and going to bed when I should have been asleep 5 hours ago, So I hear that. And it says, why do we keep repeating the same behavior and habits and think the outcome will be different? So talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah, so I think there's so many decisions that we make also when it comes to food habits that we sometimes subconsciously make just out of habit. We're used to doing this. We're kind of used to going to bed at a certain time. We're used to treating ourselves in a certain way. And a lot of times, I think most of the people that I work, they're also kind of thinking big picture, like, okay, I'm going to start now. I'm going to stop doing this. And I'm just, I'm going to go to bed at 10 p.m. from now on, or I'm only going to eat this food from now on. And that can be very overwhelming then when you notice that you are dealing with some sort of a craving, and a lot of times that has to do with habits, instead of just thinking about the next small step. And there we can put so much pressure on ourselves to think, okay, I'm going to do this for the long run. From here on out, I'm going to just do everything perfectly, instead of just thinking, the only thing I'm going to think about is my next meal or the next habit. And it just makes it so much easier to think, when I'm going out to a restaurant, I'm not going to be thinking about doing this whole day perfect, but how can I make the next best choice for this one situation? Right. And then practicing that. And then when you fail, when you make a decision that isn't kind of in plan with what you wanted to do, to think about, okay, what happened there? How can I do that better next time? How can I maybe prepare and make sure that I have some snacks with me on the way to the restaurant? Or if they don't have the meal that I was thinking I would get, to have something maybe as a backup for afterwards, or to learn to call ahead, to learn how to communicate with family so that you're not feeling maybe a little bit embarrassed to talk about, oh, I'm doing this for weight loss, to learn also how to communicate with the people that you're just spending a lot of time with, so that you're just best prepared for these situations that might be difficult for you, or that were triggering for you just habit wise for, what you've been doing up until now. Because there's so many things that we've been doing for so many years, and we think, oh, my willpower, I can just change that now. Yeah. And sometimes that can be a lot harder said than done.
Yeah. I have found my best defense in a restaurant is the side menu. And you like yesterday, I was at a steakhouse that had an entire ceiling covered with antlers yesterday with one of my clients, wow. our loan officer that helped us get our house. I got to meet her for the first time, and I just know we're going to be friends forever. She's just adorable. But we met up in a town closer to her, and we went to this restaurant literally called Antlers, and antlers are hanging everywhere. It's a vegan's nightmare in there. But I'm able to survive situations like that, because in that particular restaurant, I absolutely love, because their side menu has grilled asparagus. I was able to get their mashed potatoes dry, no gravy. I was able to get a cup of pinto beans that was pretty much just plain pinto beans with some seasoning, and sliced tomatoes, And then of course we had salsa and corn chips to get the meal going. And so I was able to take those mashed potatoes, pour the beans and some salsa on it. Who needs gravy when you got that going on? I had the sliced tomatoes. I had the asparagus that is firm enough that you literally have to cut it with a knife and fork. So you're like, you're getting that hand and mouth coordination going on.
Yes.
And I also had a house salad with a little bit of honey mustard drizzled on it. And so I'm able to live off of this side menu. I'm a cheap date girl. I am a cheap date because those sides are usually $2, $3, maybe a piece. And so you can get out of there for $9 to $12, and everybody else is spending $30 and $40 for this garbage that's going to make them sick for the rest of the day and week, you know?
Yeah. So true.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So let's go on here and slide down a little bit. I know it's getting late over there. What's your time difference? It's almost 1 o'clock here. What time is it now for you?
Yeah, it's 8 p.m. here.
Oofda. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I love it.
You know what? My kids are in bed, so this is a relaxing time for me.
Oh, there you go. Now this one's good. Now this one's got an audio, and I'll let you tell us a little bit about it while you're talking there. Look how adorable you are. But this was talking about getting off plan, I think it was. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's because I hear this a lot of times that people say, well, you're slim, like you're thin. Why don't you just eat more like off-plan meals? And the idea behind this is also, I think a lot of people think I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do until I lose weight, and then I can go back to normal. And the truth is, and this is what I always want to just encourage people to think, you want to make healthy habits during your weight loss time that in a sense you can keep up kind of for the rest of your life, because the base of that is what you're going to continue doing afterwards. And so here I was just saying, it was one of those, like you're copying what someone else is saying, but that I don't eat off plan because I don't want to, because I feel so good eating this food that I wouldn't want to eat junk food because I don't enjoy not feeling good. But that all has to do really with creating those habits that I have go-to meals that I've learned to love. It has so much to do with mindset change too, that I love the foods that make me feel good, and that it's okay to be eating whole food, plant-based, and to not think that I'm kind of the odd one out. And to just inspire other people to want to eat healthy, whole plant foods. Yeah. And whatever you're doing now or while you're losing weight is what you want to be able to keep up doing later. And I think the more that you've experienced how good it makes you feel to eat whole starches, and how I eat probably 3 bowls of oatmeal a day, because that's kind of my treat meal for right now. I always have phases. And then I'll have, 2 or 3 other kind of main meals. I'm at home, so I can do smaller meals than for some other people. Having like 6 huge meals would sound crazy, but they're probably just smaller because I can eat them quickly here between naps and between running around. But yeah, just the benefits of eating a whole food plant-based diet, Starch Solution, are so great that when you've gone through making new habits and you've created a new normal for you, that's what your regular meals are, what you enjoy, then you don't want to go back to foods that make you feel tired, or that make you feel gross, or that make you, feel sleepy at the end of the day.
Sure. I tell my clients all the time, I feel like a broken record sometimes, but they get me, that there are no such thing as a cheat meal, because everything you eat, everything you drink, even everything you put on your skin is going to get into your bloodstream. And that blood becomes your tissue and organs. And every one of those has a lifespan. Your skin, 7 days, your liver, 7 months, if it's healthy, maybe 14 to 24, if it's not. Your brain every 2 years. Old cells die off every day. New cells are made every day. And it's made out of the things that we consume. So if you have a cheat meal, that cheat meal is going to get into your bloodstream. Is it the one that's going to only last 4 months, the kind that circulate and carry oxygen? Or is it going to be the one that makes your eyeballs or your brain that you're going to be stuck with for the next 2 years, and so on and so forth? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, everything from your hair to your toenails is made from blood. And where does that blood come from? And how are the nutrients carried to your body from that? And so that's why I say, do you want a bacon double cheeseburger brain? I mean, no, I don't, you know.
Yeah.
So it's habits, all about habits. In fact, I tell my clients all the time too, that there is no such thing as an inherited disease. I hear it all the time. They'll say, oh, well, diabetes runs in my family. I'm in my 40s and everybody in my family gets diabetes in their 40s. I expected it to come and here it is, you know. And I tell them, you know, no, the only thing that you inherited was bad eating habits and recipes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so stop the crazy train, get off. And that leads me to this one here that I couldn't stop staring at this the other day.
Yes.
This is phenomenal. Tell us about this. This is a perfect example.
Yes. Yeah. So when I first was thinking, you know, when back to that picture in college and I was exercising, we were hiking all the time up these mountains everywhere in Israel. I was thinking, man, and I only lost 5 pounds in those 4.5 months.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, I'm not one of those girls who can eat these tiny meals and think, oh, I'm fine. I'm not one of those people who can just take 2 bites of the pizza. I'll eat the whole pizza. So when I realized that you can eat this huge amount of good food that is not going to make you feel heavy and tired, in contrast to eating vegetables with the same amount of energy, with just a little bit of oil, because it's not even a lot of oil, but that's the same amount of calories that you're getting from both of those. It's the same amount of energy that you're getting from both of those plates there, or both of the pans. I would 100% choose to eat more food and to feel more full and to feel full longer, more satiated, and get all of those nutrients than have a tiny little plate of something and not feel satisfied. And that's just what those are trying to show.
And that one on the left is the illustration for the 25 grams and the 250 calories. But that's not how people eat. And they're using way more than that little tiny, looks like a half teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon of oil there. Just to get 1 teaspoon of oil, they've got to squish 55 olives. And so, you know, we're using, in the olden days, you'd use about a 1/4 cup if you were honest about it, about keeping the pan moving and things like that. How many thousands of olives have to go into making that, you know, half a cup of, you know, or 1/4 cup of oil? And so, you know, they look at it and they go, oh, I had broccoli for dinner. I ate healthy, but it's saturated in all this fat. They don't see that. They don't have that understanding. And still, my biggest question from every single one of my new clients is, how do you cook without oil? And we use 3 tablespoons of vegetable broth will do just about anything, including reheat leftovers with a lid on top. And vegetable broth, water. I like to saute a little bit of garlic, chopped up garlic in there to give it a little bit of flavor. But you're going to get more flavor and less calories the more that you substitute these things that we don't need. So we say, no meat, no dairy, no oil. Repeat, no meat, no dairy, no oil. And don't forget water. I don't know what your thoughts are on water, but because of my profession in the water industry, that is key. In fact, we are made up of about 70 to 80% water as adults. We're even higher as newborns. And so flushing our body and rinsing is like washing the dishes or washing our hands. We got to get those germs out, and they got to have a river to flow through. So, you know, so we drink every 2 hours.
And another interesting thing that I forgot about with this, it's so interesting, and I learned about this not even all that long ago, maybe just about 2 years ago, is that every person tends to feel satisfied eating a certain weight of food every day. That it's not necessarily the amount of calories that we're eating, but it's really just that the weight in food that we eat about the same amount every day. So I'll eat about, I don't even know what it is, but I'll eat about the same amount of food. A different person might eat, it's always between like 3 to 5 pounds of food every day. But if we're thinking about, you know, eating this weight in food, that if you're eating the picture on the left, it's just, you know, about 35 grams of food compared to 700 grams. Which one of those is going to more easily make you feel satisfied and leave you in a calorie deficit? Because you're going to be, you know, reaching that amount so much faster eating low calorie foods than if you're eating all this oil that weighs pretty much nothing, but adds so many calories.
It's like the stretch receptors you're talking about over here.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you done the McDougall 12-day program?
I haven't, because I kind of, I a little bit on accident stumbled upon eating more Starch Solution. And then what I did at the time, which is why it also took me a little bit longer, is that I just watched a bunch of YouTube videos and a bunch of different lectures. And I figured out, okay, dairy is terrible. Meat is bad. Because I grew up thinking, the kind of the keto way of eating, that's healthy. And yeah, so.
I gotcha. Yeah. So this one here, I love this here. Whatever you do to lose weight is what you will have to keep doing to keep the weight off long term. What make habits you can sustain during your weight. This is definitely a lifestyle program. And when Dr. McDougall talks about how entire nations have survived on mono foods like potatoes and rice and things like that, because of their nutritional content and things. And, where the majority of the world is blessed to be able to have vegetables on the other side of the plate. And the difference between the Starch Solution and the maximum weight loss version is that the maximum weight loss has you do vegetables on half your plate, starches on the other. Whereas the Starch Solution, he's actually got words in here that say vegetables are optional. I mean, you can literally just do that. That's why I carry potatoes in my purse. I have a Ziploc baggie with some sweet potatoes or regular potatoes in my purse, so that if I get hungry and I'm driving around and doing house calls or driving in and forth out of town, because I live about an hour and 10 minutes from my clinic, I can just snack on a potato in the car and not feel like I have to stop somewhere and get something that I know is going to have oil on it, and I don't need that. So those are the kind of habits that we have to maintain. And like when I was at lunch yesterday, I said, look at all this food. In fact, because I was talking so much, I know you can't imagine me talking too much, but I was talking so much that meant I was eating slower. And I literally had to take part, like half of those potatoes, beans, the salsa, the tomatoes, and some of the salad. I had to take that home in a to-go box because I was full because I was eating slower.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very true. I've noticed that as soon as I'm by myself or I have more time, that it is good to have a little bit for people who are just trying to create healthy habits. Sometimes having a little bit of a bookend, because like you were saying, when you're eating slow, I try to encourage my kids not to talk while they're eating so that they finish their meals, because one of my kids especially will just take a couple bites and be like, oh, I'm not hungry anymore. Because they'll be talking the whole time and feel full. So yeah, this is a recipe that I shared really specifically also we have it on the weekends sometimes, but for my kids, of just thinking of healthy meals that will also satisfy them, because I'm not trying to feed and I'm not trying to encourage other people to be feeding their kids weight loss meals or weight loss plates. So this is something, with adding in some plant milks and breads and things where you can throw something together also quickly and still be having your meals and not have to be spending all day in the kitchen. As a busy person, you can still be throwing together very healthy, nutritious meals for your kids that are going to fill them up and allow them to be in a calorie surplus while they're growing.
Well, and they're going to be some of the healthiest kids on the planet. Let's look at this little adorable family here. They're going to be healthy because of the food that you're feeding them. Well, that didn't pop up. Oh, there we go. And they don't have to eat meat and dairy to make that happen. That is such a misconstrued wives' tale. I mean, that is just so far from the truth. And we illustrate all the time that 100 calories of meat is like putting your thumb and four fingers all squished together and then dropping your pinky as what amount of protein you're going to get out of that meat from what the cow ate, for crying out loud. And the rest of it is what I'm chasing out of your blood in my microscope as a career. That is what I do, is getting all that other junk out, and your kids aren't going to have that kind of a junk. So,
and a lot of times,
go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of times people are also worried about their kids, just not developing correctly or not having the amount of energy. And every child is so different. But each of my kids, they all started walking when they were 10 months or 9 months old. We were kind of hoping they would start later. they've all started talking early. So there was nothing that kind of had that typical, like, they're not nourished enough or they're not getting enough of anything. Yeah. And when you're giving them whole foods and enough nutrients, they're going to develop well.
Well, and we
So,
also found early on that if you involve the kids with the process, whether they're growing a simple garden in the yard, or even if you have just a little tray in your house that you're growing some sprouts, the kids take ownership of that, and they want to eat it because they grew it. They watch the seed turn into a plant. They get so excited, and they are wanting everybody to try this thing that they grew. Or even just going to the grocery store and letting them help pick out, do we want this apple or that apple? Do we want this potato or that potato? And letting them pick those choices. You've got russets, you've got whites, you've got yellows, you've got reds. I mean, what color do you want today? And letting them participate in that. So I know I'm taking up so much of your time and picking your brain here, but I could talk to you for hours, but I'd like you to go over this a little bit for me. This is about overeating, because if I have a problem with anything, it is doing that. Now, again, we can eat, what does Plentiful Kiki call it? She calls it, she's a volume eater. And like you were saying, how you can eat those 6 meals a day and still lose weight or maintain your weight. I don't think I'm to that point yet, because I get full sooner, but it's so good. I want to keep eating it. So let's talk about this for a minute.
Yeah. So this was a post I did about tips to just recover from overeating, because a lot of people that I work with, this is something that coming from, maybe overeating and then restricting because you feel like I ate so much yesterday, or I ate so much for that last meal, that I want to make up for that by eating a smaller meal, or I'm not going to eat for the rest of the day, or I'm not going to eat or I'm not going to eat tomorrow or something like that. And once person specifically that I was working with, she had this kind of setup of she would eat on one day and not eat at all on the second day. And she didn't even have necessarily a lot of weight to lose, but she just had a very unhealthy relationship with food, because she wanted to be able to eat these just huge amounts and not stop. So one of the first things that we worked on is just after you've done that, don't say I'm not going to eat. Just for your next meal, the next time that you feel kind of that you're getting a little bit hungry or it's time for a meal, eat a normal meal. Because what we need to learn to do is to fuel our bodies properly, to give it the energy that it needs, instead of to be restricting that, and to practice eating healthy meals when we need them, rather than kind of doing this a little bit of punishing for maybe eating too much. We want to be practicing just treating our bodies well, and to be kind to our bodies, and to be healthy. And I think that's such a big part of, being healthy and not just focusing on weight loss, that you want to be kind and be treating your body well. And I always say that, eating healthy is kind of a way that you can practice self-care every day. And as a mom, the best way that I can do self-care right now, because I just don't have a lot of time with 3 little kids, is that I can just be nourishing my body well consistently, instead of saying, oh, I'm just going to eat some sort of a junk food because I don't have time and I'm busy. That I can continually be practicing self-care, is to just nourish my body well, to eat nourishing meals. And then number 2, I also said here, is just to be setting healthy boundaries, to know, what, I really don't do well with having chocolate in the house. Don't feel like you have to have chocolate in the house then. It's okay to not be able to, just to know your boundaries and to say, well, I'm just not going to have that. Well,
and you have to think also, one of the things that I learned early on in my training was that intermittent fasting is not the way to go. If your body goes more than 14 hours, let's say you had dinner at 6 o'clock and you get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, that Greek, Latin terminology that we learned in high school, the word breakfast means break the fast. So you've got to put something in your mouth that is going to break it. And I'm not talking about coffee, because I can do a 3-hour lecture on how damaging coffee is to your cells. And we replace that with our energy lemonade. I can tell you more about that if you're interested in it for your
Yes.
clients, because the more we can get people off of coffee and its damage, it's, I tell you, excuse me, coffee, cocoa beans, tobacco, marijuana, those are things that the indigenous people use to grind up, put in mud, and use for external wound care because they're extremely acidic and they're a great astringent for wound care. They were never intended by our maker to be ingested into our body because it causes damage on the inside. And so when we talk about these things, when they go with more than 14 hours without food, and they think they're going to, skip all the way through until lunchtime and they're going to lose weight and be healthy, that's so far from the truth, because the body starts thinking, when are they going to give me my next meal? So anything they do eat at noon that day, the body's going to store it and keep it. Not to mention the fact that the body goes in what we call survival mode. And so if it needs fuel because they left for work and they're doing their job and they needed energy to move, I mean, it takes so many calories just to sit on a table, on a couch and watch a television show. There's calories that are burned doing that. So getting up and driving your car and going to work or whatever you're doing, taking care of the kids or whatever, those calories are so much greater than that the body says, I'm going to pull some of their muscle and use that, because since I don't know when they're going to feed me again, I'm going to take the fat that's on their body and I'm going to keep it there and store it because I need that to survive. So it keeps the fat on, it keeps it stored, and it starts eating away at the muscle, and it just, you start deteriorating. And so there's a huge misconception there. And there's so many books and so many YouTube videos and so much bad information out there. And I just want to jump on the roof and scream. You know
what's also really interesting is, when I was saying those last 5 pounds that I also lost, I was doing kind of just this idea of intermittent fasting, not so much on purpose, but because after my gallbladder was out, I was having a hard time digesting, that it took me a couple years to realize, you know what, I don't need to be doing like stopping eating earlier so that my body can kind of recover and digest all that food when I'm eating the right foods. And when I started eating another, like just a later meal in the day, even though I was eating more starches, and my last meal, I don't, have any veggies or anything in there. It's really just kind of oatmeal and some berries. That's when I lost those last 5 pounds, even though I was eating another meal. And I think also, just letting my body know that I was giving it what it needed, that it just started even, I don't know, just using all the energy that it was given a lot more efficiently.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are scared to eat, later in the day, or they do intermittent fasting because they think it will even be better for their weight loss. But it's not true.
No, in fact, Dr. McDougall swears by the fact of simplicity. And he, maybe on a rare weekend, he knows that every morning is going to be oatmeal with blueberries or strawberries. He knows it's going to be oatmeal and berries. So he doesn't have to think about it. He's not making a bad choice when he wakes up the next morning, because he already knows he's going to have his oatmeal and berries. He's going to break his fast. He's going to have that. And then he can go to the next meal from there and decide if he's going to have, excuse me, potatoes or rice or whole grain pastas or something like that. Now, in my other sideline there, I beg my clients not to touch gluten. So I don't recommend wheat pasta, but we can go all day on chickpea pasta or brown rice pasta, something like that.
Okay. Do you recommend eating oats then and stuff like that, or not so much?
Oh yeah, I love oats.
Okay.
So yeah, in fact, my husband made oats this morning with blueberries and bananas in it. And we do that quite frequently. In fact, I told him just last week, I says, why don't we just go back to doing the oatmeal for breakfast, because we don't have to think about it. Because our other go-to is we do hash browns from the already cooked potatoes. And put a bunch of salsa and onions on top of that. And man, I can get my 50% plate off of just, salsa and cactus, the Napolitos, they call them.
Yeah.
So, Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
my kids love oatmeal, and it's just one of these things that when you're setting also a good example, when you're having other people see the way that you eat, and sometimes also just the amount that you're eating and so much color that you can put into it. I love when we have people over to just make very vibrant foods. We eat very I like to eat the same meals over and over again. We have our favorite, our go-tos, but when people come over, I like to make a lot of special things just to show them that there's a lot of variety that you can have.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
and we spent a couple months living with my parents before they moved. And my parents both transitioned to eating whole food, plant-based. My dad is still kind of figuring it out, but my mom has lost about 20 pounds in the last, I think it's been 3 months now. And she had been struggling just to try and find something that she could do for a long time. But my kids will always ask to eat oatmeal and blueberries. It's kind of they've just seen that that's what I like to do. And so everyone in our family now will wake up and the blueberries don't last very long.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear that. I know one of the ladies, is it Kike or somebody else that does it all up in a big like baking pan, and she cuts it in squares, and then she just makes it once a week so that she doesn't have to cook it all week. And then she
Yeah.
just reheats it for breakfast in the morning. And it's just super fast, super quick.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I
Having
agree.
go-to meals is so helpful.
Yes. And I love your comment here in section number 2, where it says maybe keep the things out of your house that are a trigger for you, the things that you tend to overeat on or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Because I
that's
think
awesome.
even sometimes if there might even be some health foods that you tend to struggle with just eating more of, that can always be the case. And I think even knowing your boundaries there, you can, this was another thing is sometimes over time, you're going to be able to develop habits, but if you're putting pressure on yourself to try and figure that out right away, I think that's also a little bit too much. So some people might say, okay, well, like, look at Stephanie. She's been doing this for this many years. She can eat these things and compare yourself to that. But you might be starting out in your journey, and to know your boundaries, to not be scared to set those boundaries. And it could be that over time you say, oh, that's not even an issue for me anymore. But maybe there will be things. I think Chef AJ also says, she is more addicted to food. So she just, makes sure to have all of her vegetables in the morning. And there's going to be different boundaries or different habits that everyone needs to set for your specific situation, for your, whatever kind of habits you used to have.
Yeah, she's a great example. Chef AJ can put some food away in that tiny little body. And so I don't know if you've seen it. She's got a YouTube video out there when she's on the late night show or something. Have you seen that, where she's blowing a flute through her nose and she's upside down and she's huge? Have you seen that?
Oh, wow. No. Oh, yes,
Oh
yes,
my
yes, I
gosh.
have. She showed that, right?
Yeah, it's on one of my pages. But she's doing the flute with her nose, and then she's hanging upside down on her head, and he's holding her ankles, and her dress comes down. You can see her thighs. There is no way that you think that's the same Chef AJ that we know and love as this healthy, trim and fit person that can put away bowls and bowls of food. So it's fun to be able to see people in their journey and how far they've come along, or Joy and how she walks like 18 to 20 miles a day, and she's carrying her oxygen tank, and she's lost over 150 pounds and hasn't missed a day of walking. Even if she was sick or having treatments in the hospital, she'd walk up and down the hallways at the hospital just to get those steps in, because she's committed to not putting the weight back on, and committed to staying healthy. And that's how she likes to do that. So I just love the inspiration of the people that we've had. And your page is beautiful. I mean, I haven't seen one that's so professional, in the way that your little comments and stuff are articulated here. It's just, you're doing a great job. And I want to encourage the people that are watching this to like her on Instagram, follow her on Facebook, and participate in her program. She's obviously doing this for her career like I do here. And we just want to share, this wonderful information that she has to offer. And be sure to check back on our Facebook page later today when I post this, because I know the questions are going to start popping up. People are going to have some more questions for you, but because of the time frame, I did not want to keep you up until the wee hours of the morning trying to do this live, but I appreciate you taking the time. Is there any other things that you'd like to share with us today?
Yeah, I think, just commit to being consistent and to, figure out what works for you. Sometimes there can be things that we fail on. You might think, food prep, you've tried something and it doesn't work out. Don't think that that means that you can't do this or it's not for you. Just make little changes and try to find out what will work for you. Yeah, just stay consistent. I struggled to find what would work for me kind of when I first started. So it doesn't mean that it won't work for you. Just keep consistent. Thank you so much for having me. This was a treat.
That's awesome. Thank you. And I'm sitting there watching this video as you're talking here. It's like I've got to dive in a little bit more, but I do want to thank you for your time doing that. I can see the sun's going down behind you in the windows there. So it was really bright when we started.
Yeah, it goes fast.
It's definitely time for sleep, but I do appreciate that. Go ahead and give us your contact information. Tell us what your Facebook page is or anything is, or can they just go to this link that we've got here? Is there any?
Yeah, so my my name is my Facebook and my Instagram. So just Stephy Bartholomae. It might be the link that you have there. And then I also, if you're interested, I have just a couple videos on YouTube that I just started making all of these things because I was thinking about, I think, people who just thought they had to be spending hours in the gym or eating tiny just amounts of food to be able to lose weight. And that is not the case. So I just wanted to encourage people just the way that I was encouraged by watching other people's YouTube videos. And
so you see mine is Health Natural Solution. So how do we get to your page here so they can see it?
Stephy Bartholomae with P. Y.
Spell it for me.
THOLO.
Oh, there we go. That's not it.
No, it's not. OLO. MAE.
MAE. Like that.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. So then we're going to subscribe. And when we click on this particular channel, Get Lean with Greens, what a cute name. And you've got all these videos here that we can show that you can go in and spend time with. You'll probably be seeing some of these pop up on our page because when I find something that I just love, I will share it with the group quite often. And then I've got all these other clients and then my newsletter that we did it monthly for a long time and then we got out of the habit. We're going to get back in that habit again and start linking some people to our group. And I've got over 4,000 clients in that list. So I would love to share you with everybody as we go through our journey together and have our weight loss. So you guys, this is how you find her. Stephy Bartholomae, Bartholomae. Make sure you get that correct. And then you can also link from there from Instagram and Facebook if you need to. So, all right. Well, thank you again for your time.
You're welcome.
Blessing to all of us and an inspiration. And I wish you the best of luck in your career in this as a profession. You're like me. It's like you find something that worked for you and it's like you have to be able to share it with other people. And that was my whole motivation of getting a degree as a doctor of naturopathy and being able to reach more people with that because when the doctors are shocked that you reversed your own breast cancer in less than 4 months, after they've been monitoring those lumps for 18 months, talking about how they're going to remove them or my breast or whatever, you have to do something. You have to stand on that rooftop and you have to shout it to the world.
Yes, I agree.
I did it with the vegetables. That was great. But being tired and hungry all the time is not sustainable. Whereas this made it sustainable.
Yeah.
So
It's incredible. And I think I had never, it wasn't a new idea. He just helped to spread this idea and to come up with a concept. And I think it's incredible that we had never heard of it before. And
Yeah.
so many people don't know about how good potatoes are.
Well, and he's been doing this for 40 years, and I'm just slapping myself that I didn't see it before.
Yeah.
But one of the things that is so unique about him, and I'm trying to follow that a little bit, is he literally tells you in the classes and on his webpage that share this with other people. There's so much that he gives away for free that it comes back to him tenfold, because I would highly encourage you and anybody that's listening to take his 12-day course. And now that it's available online, they're having even greater success long-term with doing it online, because every day the people are in their own home. They have to prepare their own meals, and they can take their struggles the next morning. And every morning they call it coffee with, or whatever, morning, not coffee, but morning with Dr. Young and Mary. And we get to ask them questions like open forum and just talk to them and make those struggles work. Whereas when people were going to his facility and staying there for the 10 or 12 days or whatever, the meals were all prepared for them. So when they went home, they went home to a house that was full of junk from when they left, and they don't know how to maneuver. They don't know that they can ditch the food that's there, And somebody said, well, donate it to the food pantry. And it's like, oh, why? You don't like those people?
Get rid of it. It's not food. Yeah.
It's not food. It's poison. And, if you had a bottle of bleach laying around the children, you'd throw it out. Yes. So, the fact that we had all this stuff there. So he says that they're actually having higher success rates with people sticking to the program longer, because they're doing it online. They're doing it in their home. They have to be accountable. Every single day you are talking to your coach. They're asking you for your blood sugar, your blood pressure, and what you ate, for the day. They work you through that every single day for the 12 days. Then they call you once a week for a year. Okay. Wow. Or excuse me, for 3 months. They call you once a week for 3 months. And then starting the 4th month, they call you once a month for the rest of the year. And so it is worth every penny. And I strongly encourage people to do it. I learned so much. And it's just a really, and then there's a group that participants of the program every single week on Wednesdays at 10 o'clock in the morning, people from all over the world get together on Zoom. And they're actually right now reading just one section of the Starch Solution together and then discussing it. And this has been going on for over a year now. And so there's a lot of support there that is available even beyond the scope of the program. So I encourage you. All right. Well, thank you again, Steffi. And if you need anything from me, I would love to help you with your clients. Like I said, I can do the microscopic blood work through the mail. I can't do the live blood, but I can do send a little kit and have them do the sample and send it back, and I can look at the dry blood and analyze that and help them with issues that I can see there. And what's neat about it is it gives them a visual of how they started, and then repeating that, say 4 to 6 months later, and seeing how that blood improves. That is mind blowing for people to see that visual.
Does it work internationally?
Yeah, I can ship anywhere. Yeah.
How much does it cost?
It's $75 for the kit plus shipping. So the postage is going to be a little bit more going overseas, but that the $75 includes the analysis of the blood and then a Zoom consult where I can explain it to them. And for like you and me working together like that, you could charge whatever you wanted, I guess, but from that we could work something out between you and I, but we could do you on the Zoom call too, so you could see and participate with your clients to see what I have to help to offer with them as well.
So I think I'm going to talk to my dad about it, because he's we need to show him a little bit more just the differences. And my mom was kind of trying to get me to be a little bit more just because he has some health issues. And I think it would be the perfect thing for him to just be able to see it too. We tell people all the time, the proof is in the blood. It's not in the pudding, it's in the blood. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll show you
Well,
the pudding in it.
Yeah, I'll write you and then I can get one ordered and then do that with him because I think it would just be very helpful in just getting him motivated. And then it's something I can suggest to my clients because a lot of the people that I'm working with, there's a lot of health issues. And that's why they want to do also more of the idea of one-on-one coaching because they've tried so many things and it's never worked.
Yeah.
And have a lot of health issues, a lot of hormone problems and issues, and just they really want to make changes.
Yeah, it's incredible. I really enjoy that. So did you get a degree in anything like that to be able to teach hormones and stuff like that, or just
No,
strictly following the Starch Solution?
because I'm just teaching them to do habit and mindset change. It's more just like the lifestyle kind of things.
Lifestyle coaching.
Yeah, but because of all of this, and just because there's been, I think, so much more that I've become aware of through just the habit and mindset coaching. I am wanting to go and do like a nutrition degree, and I want to do a regular one and then also a specifically one for plant-based vegan nutrition, just so that the people that are kind of skeptical about, do you really know everything? So that you can just have both, be able to discuss both sides of it with them.
Well, I have a recommendation for you that as well. The college that I went to, you can work at your own pace. You can do it online, and then you can do the forums now because of COVID. You can do the practicums and things like that on Zoom as well. So you could be, testing urine at home, and they could be observing and helping you with that as well. So it's a great program. So let's get in touch with that afterwards, and then I'll give you that link.
That sounds great. Yeah, because I'm wanting to start that probably just the end of the summer or maybe even during the summer. So in like the next month or two or something.
Yeah, I'm actually working on the curriculum because they've asked me to teach them microscopic blood health courses. And so I'm working on the curriculum to do that. So I'll be one of the instructors. It's taking way longer than I anticipated. I've been working on this for a couple of years now, and they haven't lost faith in me yet. They know I'm going to produce it, but writing curriculum was a whole new ball of wax for me. So that was interesting. So, but I'm excited because I have the knowledge. Now I just have to be able to put it onto paper and make it so it's cohesive so that anybody in the world can follow along and do it. So,
yeah.
All right.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you for taking the time. I'm glad that we
Thank you so much. And you have a great evening. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. What'd you think? How was she? Oh, YouTube's still going here. Hold on. There we go. All right, go back to here, back to us here. Okay, there we go. All right, so wasn't she awesome? Did you guys learn anything? Everybody still awake out there? Looks like everybody stepped away.
I was motivated by just what comment she made about keeping habits you're going to continue afterwards. Not that you do it until you lose weight and then you stop, but you kind of keep that habit going.
Yeah, it becomes a lifestyle, something that is just a habit. Kind of like me not eating gluten anymore. I mean, I get so sick if I get it. Oh, look at you, Diane. So I get so sick, it's not even a thought pattern anymore. Gluten is just not going into my mouth. It's not a choice. And the things that we can do and make it part of our lifestyle, there's just certain things we can't eat anymore. It's just, it wouldn't even cross our mind to eat them. You know what I mean? So anyways, the YouTube page, the Instagram page, she's got a ton of stuff and information there. I finally linked over to the one where it said the eats, and it had quite a good reel of some of her meal ideas there and stuff. Pink is your color, Diane. That looks really cute on you.
Thank you. Yeah, we're going out. I have shoes that match. You can't see them, but I have pink sneakers on.
So my kids, this is a funny story. We were coming out of I think it was a Subway or some restaurant one day. And this lady had a cream Mercedes convertible that she was getting into. And she had on a cream suit cream shoes and a cream handbag. I guess she liked the color cream.
I'd say.
But my young son said, she's rich. And I'm thinking, he knows what a Mercedes costs? And I go, well, why'd you say she was rich? Because all of her stuff matches. I thought it was so cute. It was so cute. So anyways, but I really enjoyed visiting with Steffi today, and I hope you guys did too. Based on what you heard today, what is your motivator for this week? I put you guys on the spot every single week, so get used to it. What are we working on this week?
Silencing the dogs whenever there's something I want to listen to.
That's why we have rewind and playback. So
Yeah.
you'll be able to listen to it later. I'm going to upload this and you'll be able to link into
Yeah,
it.
because they showed up to cut my grass right when she started.
Of course they did.
And I missed a bunch too. I don't know why my phone just stopped.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And somehow, I don't know if you put me on, what's that called? No picture, or if I don't know. I missed
didn't do it.
probably half. Yeah.
Well, you can
Missed
play it
probably
back
half.
today. It'll be on the Starch Lady page on Facebook. And you can go right straight to YouTube right now and watch the version where it's just me and her, the one that we just watched together. So you can actually click
Okay.
on my YouTube page right now and go watch that right now. So,
that's cool.
okay. So 2 ways to see it with us, chatting about her versus just watching her directly. So, all right. Well, I will try to come up with something new and creative for you next week. But other than silencing the dog, what are we going to work on this week? You're not getting off the hook that easy, girl. Carolyn, Sam, what are we working on?
More of what I did this week. I mean, it's just I can only do just little stuff during the week. So I'll find another combination of something that's in my pantry and in my freezer and in my refrigerator.
Well, I don't know how much weight you've lost, Diane, but your whole face looks different than when I first met you. So something's working. Something's working. Mine feels fuller. Now, this is funny because we just got a rider lawnmower this week, and I'm sweating to death riding a rider lawnmower. Can you imagine? So it is Texas, and it is more work than I thought it was going to be. But just getting out in the yard and everything, I had lost like 8 pounds in the last week or so. And it's like, that can't be right, But one of the ladies, I'm going to share a video with you also on the group today about a gal who talks about that when you're first starting out and losing weight and you think you're doing so good, but you're not losing as much as you should. Samantha, this is motivation for you. And she talks about how you're eating more hydrating foods, and that water weight weighs. Think of the difference between a weight of a potato versus the weight of a bag of potato chips. Which one weighs more? Because of the water content, right? Which one's better for you? The potato. So you might not be losing as much or as fast as you think you are because you've got more water weight in these foods that you're eating, and your body's hydrating better. So I'll show that to you and you can make some comments. But I do want you to put some questions on the bottom after I post this onto the group. I want you to don't put the questions on YouTube because I still haven't figured out how to retrieve those. But go to the Facebook group once I get that loaded up there today. And please put some questions in there so you can answer back for us later this week. Okay?
Okey-dokey.
All right, guys. Anything from you, Carolyn? Anything you want to add? Your motivator for the week?
I guess I'm just gonna, I don't know, just make sure I have food prepped in the fridge. So when I get hungry, I don't eat something bad.
That's a really good one. That's a very, very good one. Right now I'm thinking, I'm really hungry right now because it's like 3:30 and I did her thing and I did this one. And I'm a little starving right now. And then it dawned on me, I still have that little box of leftover asparagus and tomatoes and potatoes with beans from the restaurant yesterday. So I can go eat that cold or warm, whatever one I feel like. So it's nice to have this stuff available.
So I just, I think portions is my thing, that I need to work on portions. instead of pee, you know, because I will seriously, and I don't care if it's only 25 calories or whatever, I'm stretching my gut, and that's not good.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, they want the stretched receptors to kick in, like she had on that one chart we were looking at. Your stomach will tell you it's full when it makes that little tiny stretch. And I think it's only what, an eighth or a quarter of an inch or something. And that's when your stomach says, okay, I'm done now. And so we need to eat enough to make that happen, or we just want to keep eating or eat again an hour later. So if we eat until we're satisfied, that will help.
no, see, and that's the thing. I eat just to eat. I don't eat because I'm hungry.
I eat because it's there. Is that what you're
Yeah,
doing?
yeah, it's there, and I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to eat. Therefore, I'm, you know, okay, I need to eat. It's like I'm not hungry, but I eat. So I'm gonna eat, you know, whatever I made, and I'm gonna eat it all. And that's ridiculous. But you know, and like yesterday, I didn't even eat. Well, I'm making the food, and then by the time I finished making it, and I ate, you know, a half a cucumber while I was eating it, and I ate, you know, 2 or 3 pieces of the zucchini once it was made, and you know, a couple of pieces of the what's that? One of those things called bell pepper, whatever. And I, you know, when it was cooked, there was like, okay, I don't want to eat right now. So I never even ate it. I never ate
as you're eating. So that reminds me of a lady named Cookie from North Dakota, and we're talking over 30 years ago, and it stuck with me. Cookie was the she got that nickname because she ate cookies all the time. But she was the Avon lady that came to the door, you know, ding dong, Avon's calling, you know, remember that? Are anybody old enough to remember that? Anyways, she was huge. I'm talking humongous fungus. This lady was huge. And she came dinging on the door because in North Dakota, the winters are 9 months long. And so we didn't see her for a long time. And, you know, if she came, she was in her coat or whatever. Well, the summer happened, our 3 months of mosquitoes and humidity. And she knocked on the door and I didn't know who she was. In that 9 months of winter, she had lost like 100 pounds, looked like a totally different person. And what she had done is she realized that she was overeating because she was doing what you were doing. She was doing what I was doing, where you're eating and nibbling as you're making the meal. You're eating the good stuff, the stuff that you're making the meal that's good for you. You're eating that.
Well, yes, I get you on that. Yes, but I'm talking about 2 or 3 slices is what I ate.
So that's not bad. What she was doing was she had realized that she'd eaten pretty much an equivalent of a meal while she was standing in the kitchen cooking it. And then she was sitting down with the family and ordering another plate and doing another meal. So what she started doing, no joke, she started making the meal, serving it to her family, putting on her coat, no matter how deep the snow was, and walking out that door. And she was going to walk for an hour every night, rain or shine, snow or sleet. She was going to walk outside. And the job for the family was they had to eat the meal, they had to clean it up, and they had to put away the leftovers, because then she found she was eating a third meal when she was cleaning off her kids' plates as she was cleaning up after the meal. So she cooked it, served it, walked out the door. They had to clean it, put it in the dishwasher, put the leftovers in the fridge or throw them out or whatever. And that's how she lost weight in 9 months, like 100 pounds. And it came down to portion control. And I've heard before, and I know I'm trying to do this too. I just finally found a box where I was unpacking the other day because there were some dishes that were missing. And I didn't have them in the kitchen yet. And I found my Fiesta ware that I gotten from my daughter in North Carolina. And it's yellow. And you know how I love yellow. And there's only like one set. And there's the regular plate. Then there's a smaller plate. There's a smaller plate. And there's a little tiny saucer plate for like a little teacup. And I'm starting to eat off of that little tiny I guess it would be called a salad plate, but I can put all my food on that plate and feel like I've got a whole meal going on and not feel like I'm overeating. If I need more, I can go back and get more. But before, I'm like serving it up like I'm serving it to the boys, you know? And it's like everybody's getting these equal portions of food. Do I need an equal portion of food with these guys that are like, you know, our technician that is out there sweating and working all day long? Or, you know, my husband, do I need as much food as these grown men do? I don't think so. So I'm using that smaller plate and I'm feeling pretty good about it. So what are your thoughts on that as far as helping with the portion control? Get a specific plate that you can use.
Yeah. I mean, I could do that, but I'm annoyed with the fact that even though I basically did not eat yesterday, I gained 2 pounds. And don't tell me, oh, you didn't really gain, but yeah, I really did, because I don't care if it's not really weight, whatever, but it's like, really? That, yeah, and yes, I weigh myself every day, and it doesn't matter if it's, you should only weigh yourself once a week. No, because it's the same, you know, what if I weighed myself once a week and it's on that oops, even if I've been perfect, why in the world would I have gained 2 pounds with eating pretty much nothing yesterday? You know, eating half a cucumber and 3 slices of a zucchini. Why would I have gained 2 pounds?
Well, you go back to that, your body protected itself. Remember, we were talking about that earlier today. You know, the body's going to think that you're not feeding it and it's going to hang on to stuff, you know, but you're not, that if that's all you ate yesterday, that's not even 50 calories. That's more like 30, you know, for the whole day.
Well, you can't tell me that it went into, you know, starvation mode, protection and blah, blah, blah. And that's why I gained 2 pounds. I'm just wondering.
You definitely retained. How much water did you have during the day to flush, or did you retain everything, every moisture you took in?
No, I had my water. I drank my water. I don't know. My issue.
Watch the video that I'm going to put up for you right now. We can watch it right now if you want. It's only 11 minutes. Do you want to watch 11 more minutes now together?
That's up to Carolyn and Diane. Did Diane leave already?
Diane had to leave, but let's go ahead and look at that. Let's piggyback this.
I might just actually leave now.
Okay.
I do have to go. Okay.
All right. I'm going to put it on there. And we'll have it there for later. All right. Love you. Bye. All right. Let's go over here. And it was on, let me see. I put it on. Here, let me just post it on the Facebook group so I can talk about it separately. Just because it is getting so much later and it takes a long time for these videos to load up. Let me stop the share here. I don't know where those come. It's like strangest stuff pops up on YouTube. Let me go ahead and post it up there. It's a video that I put on my little tag here so I wouldn't lose it. And it's called, it's talking about gaining weight on the Starch Solution. So I will put that up right now and then in the comments, or call me later, okay? It's 11 minutes. All right, sweetie. We'll talk to you soon.
I'm excited that you lost another, what do you say, 8 pounds or so?
Yeah, it's starting to go there. I think it has to deal with exercise and getting out there and climbing up and down off that mower and picking up sticks. And I mean, my property's huge. I'm walking all over it like multiple times a day. Just to go to my mailbox is like, you know, we're going like, what is it, 200 or 300 feet to the gate, and then it's like another 300 feet to the mailbox. I mean, that's further than my block was long, you know. And so, yay. But we were
great.
joking about this the other day because we've always been nervous about our friends that retired in the military because they went from desk jobs to deciding suddenly that they were farmers and they wanted to go out and have a heart attack because they're doing manual labor and mowing their own lawn and stuff. And here I am, 60, gonna be 61 next month, and next month's our birthday month. Yours, mine, and Diane's. And you know, here I am out here, gone from desk life, I call it, to homestead wife. You know, it's like the farmer's wife. You know, and I've got to be careful. I've got to be smart about it. You know, I tweaked my good knee. Dang it. And so I have to be careful with what I'm doing so that I don't drop dead because I'm enjoying my most favorite place to be. It's like waking up in a state park. I love it here. But I have to be smart about it so that I don't overwork myself and put too much strain on my body. I've got to gradually work into that. But I'm thinking by the time I get this next, 50, 60 pounds off, I'm gonna be looking dang good. And so's my yard. So. All right, sweetie. All right, we'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right.
But,
All right.
watch that video and then put some comments in for me.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Take
Love
care.
you. Bye-bye.
Love you too.